Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Western Oklahoma Sports Podcast. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you, brought to you by 97.3 The Score and Right Media. Joined as regularly by John Matthews and Josh Jennings, and it is a full cast of characters today as we welcome a new friend to the show. Actually, we've talked before, and he's really the only journalist that ever gave me any pub for the infamous 4-2 basketball game, Glen Brockenbush from Oklahoma Sports Network. And Glen, how are you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Man, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. It's a pretty cloudy Thursday morning here in Lawton, Oklahoma. So, but it's better than being 110 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you what, guys, and I hate to play on the fly here, but we kind of have to do something a little different, because I had told Sayre head coach Craig Hixon that we would touch base with him and be ready to talk to him about their big matchup against Mangum this week. Coach Craig Hixon, Sayre Eagles, you're on the Western Oklahoma Sports Podcast. How are you, sir?
Doing great.
All right. So Sayre is 1-0. I guess, would you consider Sayre 0-1 against the weather in this season after the Walters blackout?
Against the weather, absolutely.
All right. Well, you're here with me, Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, Josh Jennings from I think he's still Scorebook Live or one of those entities. You know, these freelance journalists, they really kind of Glen Brockenbush, who covers sports down in the Lawton area, and John Matthews, my partner. Coach, I tell you, you probably wanted to get that game in last Friday for sure, especially if you make the trip all the way down there, but your boys were probably ready to get out and test their legs a little bit.
Yeah, and it really been a hard time because we had a week off before that. So now taking 2 weeks off is a real struggle. You can kind of tell in practice we're getting a little chippy with each other. We're ready to go hit somebody else.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing if they're got that kind of energy, for sure. You guys are a running attack, and you get out there and I tell you, Aiden Hendershot, I know he probably could have ran for 600 yards in week 1 or week 0 if you'd wanted him to.
Yeah, we kind of limited his carries just because we were trying to, of course we trade film with other teams, and we knew if we had the game in hand that we wanted to skew our stats a little bit so that people prepared for us a little bit different. So he only carried the ball 4 times for us.
Yeah, and made the best out of that. And then Devin Moser, I tell you, I saw some of the highlight clips of him. He looks like he could be primed for a great season as well.
He's a little spark plug. I'm telling you, Andy's got his little brother that's on the field with him this year as a freshman, but they both of them together, I mean, they just go get it. They block well. They play great defense. Devin was our leading tackler last year, and he's about 5'7". So I mean, big things in small packages.
See, Josh Jennings, there's hope for short guys. You can,
yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I don't know how tall
I'm 5'7".
I think.
Coach, what do you tell your players? All this time off last season obviously didn't go anywhere. Is what you're planning on going at the beginning of the season, but. Is it just a whole new team, a whole new mindset, a whole new, you tell them we won this thing in the off season. Now we just got to go prove it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's been, our off season was awesome. I mean, we spent a lot of time in the weight room. We went to team camps over the summer, traveled all the way up to Wichita, Kansas, just to get some camps in to do some 7-on-7. So we spent a lot of time just getting away and going and being a team, going to do things like whitewater and movies and anything we could to be a team. And I feel like, it's just, even though we pretty much have the same team back from last year, just added some freshmen, it has a new team feel to it.
Yeah. Getting older helps, right?
Sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I said, and getting older helps.
Yeah. You
getting older, a little more experience.
Well, and I know you're going to want to improve on the one win from last season. And I tell you, Coach, I called your game against Mangum on the road last year, and I really thought there were times when you guys were just going to snag that game away from them. They come into Sayretown to this week as a highly ranked and highly favored team. What's your message to your players?
We just go out and play. I mean, same thing. Last year everything was kind of new to us. Still at that time, we were still kind of learning the offense and learning the defensive schemes and learning me as a head coach, what I expect from them. And, I feel like having this whole year under our belt, they kind of have a different attitude, a different change of pace. They understand it. I mean, there's times when the kids are actually coaching each other and understanding, this is what we got to do against this defense or against this front or whatever. But it does have a different feel to it.
Glen, Brockenbush, you're down there in the Lawton area. Did you know that a storm was going to go wipe out power in Walters last Friday?
No, partly because I was out of town this past weekend. But the weather, it's always a real bummer when the weather messes up our high school football. I've been at multiple games over the past couple of years that have had weather delays and blackouts. But yeah, the Walters one really caught me off guard.
Yeah, Coach, did you guys get down there and then find out that the game would be canceled, or did you have a heads up?
We got down there. We rode on a bus. It was 100+ degrees. We were sweating. We get unloaded, and kids were just starting to get dressed in the locker room, and this storm rolls in, and I mean, it looked like a hurricane hit. I mean, It was crazy rain. They had 10 telephone poles snapped over. They had no power to the whole town. I mean, it just blew through real fast. It was crazy.
Coach, final question before we let you go, unless John or Josh or Glenn have something, but I just wanted to ask you, this is a tough task, as I mentioned, against a highly ranked Mangum team. Is this a good test to get you prepared for district play, especially considering you go to Thomas next week?
Absolutely. I mean, they are, Mangum is a good team, highly ranked. I'm still going to stand by our district. District 1 is just a little bit tougher than everybody else has to play against. So if we get a good test here, it's going to help us going into our district.
All right. Anybody else got anything for Coach Hixon?
Coach, good luck. And we look forward to seeing you guys showing the improvement this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. And Max Patton will be on the call on that one on Sayre Eagles TV at Right.Media. And he does a great job, him and Dakota Gloria. I tell you, Coach, last year, I thought Dakota was going to come down there and take on some Mangum people in the game that I called. He bleeds Sayre maroon through and through.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
He's a good one to have.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Take care and good luck tomorrow night.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Go Eagles! Yeah,
Go Eagles. Yeah, they're Eagles head coach on there with us. So, I tell you guys, like I said, I called that game last year. The folks at Mangum were very nice. They just didn't have anything in the way of press box, so we called it outside in about a 30-mile-an-hour wind with on a veranda of the press box. And so not only were we outside, but we had everybody who had to climb the ladder to get in the press box going back and forth behind us. So it was they were very nice people, very nice folks, but just not the most conducive arena.
And Chuck, that's why I asked ahead of time for contact info for this weekend's game at Weatherford to make sure that we at OSN calling the game for Elgin don't have to go through that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
whoa! You brought a traitor into the mix. Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on a second. What? I didn't know that. I thought he was an OSN boy. Life is good.
Oh, he's Elgin out.
Found out. I've been found out. Yeah, no, I'm originally from Texas, but I've been working in Lawton for about 6 or 7 years, and I got a chance to do OSN this year. I've gotten to know the Elgin coaching staff real well over the past couple of years, and so I have one game under my belt. Like I said, was out of town this past weekend for a wedding, and so hopefully I think it should be by far, and I don't know how much this is saying, it should be by far Elgin's closest game so far this season. But again, they've just beat the brakes off of Anadarko and Cash so far.
Yeah, 75-0 for Anadarko, 55-6 for Cash. Like, that's my biggest question. When you see that, you're like, oh no. Weatherford is not firing on all cylinders right now. Don't get me wrong, Weatherford's good, but that's why you play this non-district and you've got to get your stuff worked out. But you see a team that is firing on all cylinders, it makes you a little nervous.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, guys, before we jump into that completely, just a shout out to Aiden Hendershot, the senior running back for Sayre. Last year against Mangum, he carried the ball over 25 times, I believe, and 319 yards on the ground. And that was just basically belly plays, going through there. So that'll be an interesting one. And we want to thank Coach Hixon for stopping by and visiting us. But Glenn, back to you. Where are you from in Texas?
So I'm originally from Arlington.
Okay.
Go Cowboys.
So, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Well,
the Cowboys helped me in my fantasy game.
Fantasy league.
I had the Cowboys defense. That was a good amount.
There you go. That's
well. Let's talk about real quick, Glenn, and we want to get. I know your time's valuable. You have a lot of prep time as well, but this Elgin Owls team, they are ranked in the top 5 of Class 5A that I saw. And watching them on film, they have a ton of speed and really just a ton of skill. Tress Laura, the quarterback, he's a younger player still, but he seems to know exactly where to go with the football. And like you said, don't know what kind of resistance Anadarko and Cash were going to give him anyway, but still to watch the film, they were like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing for head coach Chalmer Wyatt this year is they've been a really run-heavy team over the past couple of years trying to get Trace Laura's feet wet. You mentioned the football IQ. He's a coach's son. Curtis Laura was a coach there at Elgin for a while. He just knows the game in and out. And, when you got a kid that's a really good athlete, 3-sport athlete, we're just kind of waiting for the skill level to catch up, the growth to catch up to kind of to the smarts. And it feels like it has so far. It's not that they didn't ask him to do a whole lot, but when you're beating a team, 48, 49 nothing after a quarter or whatever it was, he against Anadarko, I think he threw the ball 6 times, completed 5, all 5 were touchdowns. It's just kind of that's efficiency. And they're, like you said, speed, skill. I think my only real concern would be, have they truly been tested? And Trace Laura talked about this week and you see this at the 8-man level a lot, is when you haven't played a full game and your starters haven't played a full game, what's that conditioning like? And I know that Weatherford is a really tough place to play, and you're going up against one of the best linebackers in the state. And I really think this is by far going to be their toughest test. I know it was a bit of a blowout last year. I expect Weatherford to, I know you guys said, haven't been firing in all cylinders. I think they're going to give Elgin a much closer game than most people expect.
Yeah, I think Sayre, you kind of mentioned earlier, but just getting a year older. I know Weatherford's played with a lot of sophomores last year, and I think just your sophomore to junior year, just a year in the weight room makes a huge difference. But yeah, I'm trying to play the game of, okay, Elgin plays El Reno. Last year they played El Reno and they whipped him. They also whipped Weatherford last year. But Weatherford took El Reno to the final play of the game, or at least the final drive of the game last week, and won a close one. I think going on the road, I feel like that had to create a little bit of confidence, right, Chuck? I mean, you had to see that after the week before when it just seemed like the wheels fell off.
Yeah, and Josh, I'll get to you here in just a second, but I think
Sure.
After I talked to Coach Roof, he realizes that El Reno and Elgin are 2 different styles. El Reno is just a ground and pound, and they've got a breakaway running back. He burned us for a 99-yard run. Malachi Nicholson has a lot of wheels, but then they also did other things, some misdirection and things like that. The thing with Elgin is it looks like they really can do both, like Glenn said, at a high efficiency rate. They're going to run the ball, and then when they see their opportunities, they're going to try to burn you with the pass. So it'll be interesting. I know, like we said, I promise you, the Elgin defensive and offensive lines have not faced anything close to what they will see tomorrow night. Josh, what do you say about that?
Yeah, I agree. What's interesting about the Weatherford Elgin matchup is the wide receivers in the secondary, because CJ Nixon, obviously he's a dog, he's really good. But they have other guys too
Oh, yeah.
Nick Jett, who like if you try to stop CJ, he opens up the field for other guys to make plays too. But I'm curious to see how that Elgin secondary matches up against CJ and Nick, and if they kind of stop Weatherford from throwing the ball and make them run the football more.
Well, and Glenn, the Elgin secondary, as I look at them on paper, they're not exactly. I mean, they've got some size, but they've also got some smaller guys. But I mean, it's all about being in position and being ready to make a play. But I tell you one thing is, it's hard to tell if their pass rush is really as good as it looked against Anadarko and against Cash.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Everything you said is pretty true. The back end isn't going to be exceptionally big, but they play tough. Brody Morrison's just a sophomore, but he's an exceptional athlete. And their corners look really good. When again, Anadarko, their passing game was kind of iffy to begin with, because I think their starting quarterback changed schools before the season started, so they kind of had to work with that on the fly. But I mean, their corners played really well. What the pass rush is going to be really interesting. I mean, if you're looking for evidence that the pass rush isn't just smoke and mirrors, I would look back at last year's, the end of last year's season. Jack Angeli, I believe he wears number 0 now. I think he had a couple of sacks against Lawton MacArthur, a sack against Midwest City, and those are probably the two best teams they faced last year outside of Guthrie. So it's a quick defense, maybe not huge, but they got some talent. Talking about, to Josh's point about covering the big receivers and tight ends, Colin Donnelly, their inside linebacker, had 2 picks against Anadarko, and he's really kind of he's kind of a lankier guy and looks more like a basketball player out there, but he's really lanky, really has good recognition skills about playing the ball. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you, they are highly ranked this year, and a lot of people giving Elgin a lot of respect. And I know Weatherford is aware. They realize, how things played out last year, and then also, what they've seen on tape. And regardless of opponent, they are a very efficient offense and a very aggressive and just a swarming defense. But I tell you, John, the last 2 weeks and the 2 wins for Weatherford, when they've needed to kind of do what they needed to do, it's been Stone Chisholm, the starting quarterback, junior Stone Chisholm. He can take that offense and kind of make it work and move the ball down the field like he did in that drive on last Friday against El Reno.
Yeah, no, I think I'm still stuck on the whole thing that Elgin's dealing with NIL issues, just like Heritage Hall with quarterbacks transferring. Wow. I didn't know. Sorry, I was trying to get past that. I get it. No, it's the new high school football, right?
Well,
I was going to say that was Anadarko's quarterback, actually.
Sorry, Anadarko was dealing with. You're right.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Yeah. No, that is funny though.
But since John brought it up, I mean, how many Elgin players live in Elgin proper? That's my question.
Well, that I can't provide to you. I do know that Brody Morrison, I think, moved from Chattanooga, but part of that was Chattanooga didn't have football, and so was looking for a place, and they're not very far from each other. But yeah, I've joked with Chalmer Wyatt. I'm like, because that's the exceptional thing about Elgin. This is a team that in 2020 was winless, and then I was like, man, what are you feeding those boys up on the northeast side of Comanche County? Because I want some. I don't look like that now, let alone when I was 16.
Yeah.
And they got some dogs out there.
Well, and I tell you, it's one of those situations where we see it around a metro area, and it's weird to consider Lawton a metro area, but there are bedroom communities that grow exponentially. I mean, if you go to Cache proper, you wouldn't think they were a 4A school. Elgin's had a boom in their school enrollment and things like that. So that's just what happens. But at least they're not like Tuttle and Newcastle staying in 4A and not bumping up to 5A. So
that's fair.
Glenn, before we cut you out of here, you'll be on the call for OSN, and you'll be on the opposite side of the press box. So don't come over into my turf. But But no, we'll look forward to getting with you. And hey, like I said, once again, you were the one journalist that reached out to me about the infamous 4-2 Anadarko Weatherford game. And, I'm still waiting on the checks to come in, but we'll see.
Yeah, I give credit to Josh for hooking us up, giving us that connect. And then what was hilarious to me was, I think it was, for those who follow on Twitter, I think it was Sickos Committee tweeted out about our story. I was like, holy cow, Sickos mentioned our story.
Exactly. So,
I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, hopefully we don't see a 4-2 football game this Friday night.
for sure.
That would be weird. 3 safeties, I suppose.
Yeah.
Where can people follow you, Glenn?
I don't tweet a whole lot anymore for my mental health purpose. But I always said once I got on a sports writing, I'm getting off Twitter. But I'm at Glen Brockenbush on Twitter. But Oklahoma Sports Network, we have apps on iPhone, Android, Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV. You can also just go to our YouTube page, which is Oklahoma Sports Network, and then a Facebook page as well. But yeah, we have teams in the Mid-Dell area as well as Newcastle, the Lawton area. So yeah, just find the Elgin channel, and we will be live with pregame 30 minutes before kickoff.
Well, you're good with us until you cross 281, and then we're going to have trouble. So
I understand. That's fair.
All right. Glenn, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dog.
All right.
You got to tell them about the press box, or no? I mean, they're still.
I'm still here. What's the deal?
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I've been. Last time there's certain spots you can't step in the Weatherford press box.
I was going to say, look for warped wood.
There's warped wood and holes in the floor, and you will fall to all the way to the bottom. Yeah. So, just
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I honestly thought John was going to withhold that information just as like a funny prank or something like that.
No, this is your life is on the line.
Look what we did to you. Yeah.
Let's see you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Later, Glenn.
So Josh, former coworker of yours at SB Live, and Glenn has been really great about reaching out to me, and probably a lot of thanks to you for that. But interesting to get the Elgin side of that story, John, because it's a situation where they're 5A, it's non-district, and if they do come out and click on all cylinders, we've got a district game coming up the next week. What we know, these non-district games don't matter.
No, they don't matter. But Elgin's the test, right? That's the one you're looking for. The one that they did, slack you a little bit last year, and you got a lot of the same returning players and a chance to just kind of, I don't know if you call it a revenge game. Again, Coach Roof will say it's not district, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, but I think it's the perfect test going into district.
Yeah. Josh, if they go out and they're competitive and they don't let it slip away, win or lose, I think you have to come away feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Elgin is a good football team. Chalmers Wyatt has them coached up, like I said before. But another point I want to make is I think I could argue Weatherford's played one of the toughest non-district schedules in the state, and I think that'll prepare them for a district race. 4 tough district game or non-district games back to back, and then head into district play. I think the Eagles will be prepared for to make a run at the district title.
Well, and I think you're right. And, right now in the rankings, it is Weatherford at number 7 and Clinton number 8. For some reason, Elk City fell out, even though they're 2-1. Their loss was to the top ranked team in 3A Texas Division II. But, those rankings, that was the Associated Press rankings.
Yeah.
And thank God the Associated Press finally got the actual story on the stupid link. I mean, John, I would go to the AP website, search Oklahoma Prep football poll. There would be a link to a story, and then there would be no story.
Nothing.
There was nothing. And it's like, I think about the 3rd week of me tagging them on Twitter. Somebody got the memo and got squared away. So you're welcome, Oklahoma.
Thank you, Chuck. We appreciate you being a big keyboard warrior. And I like that when they're doing their polls, they take into account of Clinton's private school run there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was we'll get into that here in just a second. But last thing on Weatherford is I think this team has grit. I think they have fight, and I think when it boils down to it, if it's a situation where they've got to go get a drive going, I like the way this team has progressed since week 0, in the fact that if we got to get yardage, we'll know how to get it. And one
Yep.
of that is Stone Chisholm's legs, and he's got a nose for the first down marker, and he just basically took over the game in that game against El Reno, which really, guys, other than a pick 6 and a 99-yard touchdown run, that game's not even that close.
Right.
Now
I'm with
you
you.
gotta correct those, but still you clean that up. Don't give them a turnover for a touchdown in the first half, and then contain that running back a little more, at least cut it down from they scored other touchdowns, but still Weatherford, I know Coach Roof and the rest of the staff were looking at it saying there's a lot of stuff that we can correct.
Hey, asking for a friend here. I know John Marshall's the final game of the season, so I get that. That's why it can't be that game.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing playing Elgin for homecoming?
Yeah.
Who Elgin for homecoming? Did we last year score? I mean, is Woodward not free?
Well, and
No, they
ahead.
go to Woodward, they go to Cash. They host Chickasha. I guess Chickasha could have been the
Chickasha.
homecoming game.
What are we doing with
but-
Chickasha? Could be Chickasha, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to admit, I know that I make jokes. You're supposed to schedule your easier teams for homecoming, right? That's supposed to do, but it is somewhat of a distraction. I'm not saying the players can't play through it. I'm not saying it doesn't, but there is the pregame ceremony. There is your warmups have a little longer break in between them. You got either, I don't know who's on homecoming court, but usually several or a couple of your players that are
I don't
important.
think there's any football players on the court.
All right, hey, good job, Weatherford.
Yeah, I don't. What I saw in
Smart.
in
That's
a
smart.
story was I didn't see a football player. Nate Rareman, I saw him. He's a basketballer.
Basketball. All right, hey, that's smart. That way we don't have to worry. All right, never mind then. I take it back.
I think I could be wrong. I always reserve the right to be wrong, but I get what you're saying. But I think, and this is just my take and just some of the scuttlebutt I've heard from some of the parents, is homecoming doesn't really have quite the meaning that it did back when you and I, well, I'm a lot older than you, but
yeah, I was just say they were riding horse and buggies to your homecoming, right?
shut up. Well, I tell you what they did in the 80s is back then it was always a couple, a boyfriend, girlfriend got nominated, voted in.
Oh.
So when he gave her the crown or whatever at the midfield, it was like a porno kiss. I mean,
Did y'all do the?
Gosh.
Did he
yeah,
just
it
say
was
that?
terrible. I mean,
Did y'all do the
daughter out
mums?
there you're throating.
Did y'all do the mums and garters?
Oh yeah, there was tons. There was convertible Corvettes out on the field, and the ladies.
You know talking about the mums, that big thing that they wear, the girls. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all the flowers, all the circumstance, and then a big old dirty French kiss at the end of the ceremony. Just really, really glad we've gotten away from that.
Well, there you go. Anyways, homecoming Friday night.
Yeah. So, and I don't even know what if have they been doing theme days?
Yes. Oh yeah. We had at least I've got 3 different kids doing 3 different things, which I wish that didn't.
You don't have a high schooler though. That's my question. Is the high?
Well, I know the middle school's doing theme days. I know the elementary's doing theme days, and I know the elementary's doing theme days.
Yeah.
So I know we've done crazy hats. We're doing all Eagle Day Friday. We're doing Decades Day was one day. The other day was backwards socks or crazy sock day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad some traditions still hold, even from my cart and buggy days. But guys, Weatherford will have a tough test. We'll be on that, and obviously we'll go back and forth with Glen Brockenbush when he comes to Weatherford. Maybe steer him away from any sort of issues in the press box. But guys, there was an amazing game last week, a 50-43 shootout at the Tornado Bowl, and I'm telling you, and I know coaches watch film well in advance. They may say they don't, that they're focused only on the game that week, but you can't tell me that there's not a lot of Western Oklahoma coaches that realize the running attack that Clinton has. Josh?
Yeah. What a football game. 2 really good teams. And I thought Clinton had a lot of fight in them. Even though they lost by a touchdown, I thought that Clinton definitely had their chances, and they led in the third quarter. And Coach Higbee after the game was telling his players, he was like, I'm just happy that we came back and competed, and he was like, I thought we may have lost ourselves and kind of quit like we did against Bishop McGinnis, but he's like, we get down early and we fight and come back. And he said, don't like that we lost, but I'm happy that, we came back and showed some fight and grit.
Yeah, I messed up there. I was out of town. I was down in the Dallas area. So again, I'm back onto the Right Media Network trying to watch things and quickly. And I saw, was it 21-0? Am I making that up?
28-7.
Yeah,
28-7. Maybe that's
28-7 early.
Both teams.
It was something
both teams
early in-
scored first drive.
Yep.
And then turnovers really bit the Red Tornadoes in the first half, and each time they had 3 turnovers.
Right.
And so, but they were down 28-7, and before half they come back and tie it up.
Oh, see, I saw 28-7 at some point. I remember it was a 21-point game, and okay.
It was tied. They had 3 touchdowns after McGinnis took that, or McGinnis. Now they're all interchangeable. Heritage Hall took that lead, but I'm telling you, boys, Zayden Collins,
Yes,
that guy.
I will say
273 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Good gracious.
D1?
Yeah,
I think
potentially.
I was gonna say I definitely think Zayden Collins is a difference maker. Like, when he's on the football field, Clinton is a way better football team, and I think we saw that against Kingfisher and Heritage Hall. When he wasn't on the field against Bishop McGinnis, they really couldn't do anything offensively.
Yeah.
But I don't have the stats in front of me, but I remember he ran for a long touchdown and ran over 2 guys and did a nice little spin juke move and found the end zone. So
and that's what Coach Higbee says is he knows this is a running back that isn't just fast, isn't just big. He combines speed and power and just mauls over people if they get in his way. But keeping him healthy, he wasn't in the McGinnis game. And so it did kind of show. Now, like Coach Higbee, like Josh said, Coach Higbee said, they had to find out if they wanted to play or not after that game, according to him. And kudos to Marty Wandry, our sideline reporter on Red Tornado TV. He gets some great quotes from John Higbee after the game. But Zayden Collins, and then also, here's the thing: Clinton will go as far as they can make holes for Zayden Collins, and probably Coach Richard over at Clinton not real happy with the fact that Andy Bass threw for 5 touchdowns. I mean, that Clinton prides themselves on defense and running game. They've got one of those 2 there.
Yeah, I mean, Collins was average. He hit over 200 yards against Kingfisher, right? I mean, I know both.
Oh yeah,
I'm with you.
Some or something. Yeah, he's a game breaker.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So he's averaging. It's crazy, but I think that sometimes you're going to get aerated again, but that's just sometimes that's a talent. You're not going to face that every week. There's not going to be a quarterback that's capable of doing that like Heritage Hall. Like, that's where I think I not that their defense played good. Obviously, you gave up 50 points, but I personally feel like you're going to try to be better than that.
Oh, sure.
But I don't think it's as bad as it seems, if that makes sense. Not everybody's going to pick you apart like that.
Well, and the thing about it seemed like in the game plan, Heritage Hall knew where they were going to attack, and it was going to be the Clinton secondary. They did run the ball some, but Andy Bass, obviously being an OU commit, we said he would have to keep that clock count in the back of his head, going bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. But he was able to navigate it, get him the win at a tough place to play. They're number 1 in Class 3A. Probably the number 1 team in Class 3A would be a very competitive 4A team, obviously. And because to me the gap isn't quite there, which kind of scares me about. I know Anadarko's struggling. Apparently, John's accusing them of NIL, but it does quarterback or not. It kind of scares me because usually Anadarko would not get blown out that bad against even a 5A team.
I think I'm not accusing. They got robbed by somebody else's NIL. Is that what happened? I think, yeah. So
I think it's right
their
up the
fault.
road, actually. So
that's what I'm saying. That's where we're going nowadays.
In fact, there'll be a story on sports tomorrow with I think the guy that we're talking about with some transfers coming in to help their program that they've been waiting on 15-day period to get some players going. But no, back on Clinton, guys. I think probably a number 8 ranking is a good place for Clinton. I don't know why Elk City wasn't in the top 10. To me, they haven't done anything really to fall out. But Clinton, if you look at the season 3 games in, guys, and Josh, I'm going to pitch this to you. I've
Sure.
seen definite progression with Weatherford. I've seen Clinton kind of staying on the same track, and Elk City is, to me, a bit unknown. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I will say, yeah, I think that's pretty fair. We're gonna find out a lot about Elk City tomorrow night as we welcome Carl Albert to town. That's gonna be a tough game. I think Weatherford has gotten better, especially after the Newcastle game. We'll find out a lot more about them tomorrow night too. I think Clinton has pretty much stayed consistent, because Kingfisher is a pretty good team, and then I don't think they'll play a team who's as good as Bishop McGinnis or Heritage Hall, maybe until like a long playoff run if they make it that far. But I think, I just want to see, like I said, I think we talked about this on a couple other podcasts. I think that it's going to be a 3-man race between Elk City, Weatherford, and Clinton. And, unless some of those teams stumble to some of the teams who aren't as good as them in the district, I think we won't really know who's better until they go out and play each other.
Yeah, I'm with you, but you see the district play. Of course, you got a week off next week for Clinton, but then they go bam, John Marshall, bam, Elk City, bam, Weatherford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're off tomorrow. They're off tomorrow night, and then they'll
Right.
up in a district, and then I guess Elk City and Weatherford did that. Get a bye right before districts deal, because best I can tell is Weatherford plays all the way through to October.
Weatherford plays all the way through, and so does Elk. I think Clinton's the only one with the bye,
Yeah.
to my knowledge.
And honestly, guys, as a play-by-play, I wouldn't mind a bye mid-season, but I guess I'll have a little break there before playoffs. But no, and here's the thing: you cannot accuse any of these Western Oklahoma teams from scheduling patsies. I mean, you're talking 3 teams out here along the I-40 corridor that have scheduled the top team in Class 3A Division II Texas, a top 5 team in Class 5A, top team in 3A, and then also Carl Albert's, I guess, the top team in 5A. So a lot of big time players. And then El Reno, I think, probably make some noise and make the playoffs in the 5A district.
Let's say I think El Reno's a lot better than their record shows. I think they've made a few coaching mistakes in both games. I don't know if they would have beat Weatherford, but I think they should have beat Piedmont.
Did Josh just call out El Reno's coaches?
just
I'm
did.
sitting in El Reno right now. It's okay. That's
Hopefully
Josh
no one
Jennings.
can hear.
Don't tell Sydney about that, John.
Well, yeah, Sydney's a big boy. I told you.
He's a big old boy.
He's their new 8th grade coach. He might come.
Gosh.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you want that smoke, brother.
No,
Probably not.
Coach, so El Reno's only as good as their coaches let them be. That's what we're getting. That's the headline.
Yep.
Well, I'll say this.
Put it on.
To jump to
No, I'm
Josh's
kidding.
defense, I thought that their quarterback threw a pretty nice long ball. He had big athletic receivers, and a couple of times they came pretty dang close to burning Weatherford's secondary. I think I said it in the broadcast. I probably would have chunked it a couple more times just to see if you could catch him sleeping. They had a kid that was 6'6", and he almost caught a pass. I think that either if he caught it, he would have been gone for probably the game-winning touchdown.
No, we joke all the time. If you have a quarterback and a receiver that are able to connect to each other, they're going to be normally more talented than the DBs. Just because passing, it's so hard, especially at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that when you are able to spread it out and do it and it works, I don't know why you'd ever go away from it.
Yeah. Well, and El Reno also took Piedmont to task. It was 14-6 was the final, but they were up 6-0, had some penalties and some things called back, and Piedmont's ranked 4th in the AP poll. So 5A and 4A, a bit interchangeable. It's surprising to see McGinnis at number 9, but like I said, Wagner is number 1 in Class 4A, Tuttle number 2, and Blanchard number 4. Newcastle moves up to number 5. Weatherford and Clinton down there at 7 and 8, and Elk City. Let me see if they should. Oh, they got some votes, so technically they would be 11th, I guess. So I'd be surprised why they fell that far, but it's the AP poll. And that's the great thing about football in Oklahoma; it gets played out, to see who's who.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, so guys, on Class A level last week, Thomas fell at Cashion. Just can't seem to get over that Cashion hump, even in a season where Cashion is down a bit. But they fought hard. They lost at 38-30. They got a last second score to get that on there, but I think the connection between Ty Littlebird and Zach Clancy is really a situation where they're able to make big plays, which answer me this, and I'll start with you, John, and then we'll go to Josh. What hurts you more, a long grinding drive? If you're a defense, what stings more, a long grinding drive that you just can't stop, or a big long bomb pass play?
Oh, I would say from a mental standpoint, it's the long grinding drive, but I think from a physical standpoint, it's the big pass play purely because your offense, which probably just came off the field, is huffing and puffing, and now they're right back on the field again. You could argue so is the defense, but
Yeah.
there's something to be said for some changes you're trying to make, something you're trying to do on that sideline, trying to adjust in the middle of the game. When you don't have time to make any of that, you're right back on the field. You're going to make the same mistakes, do the same things you were just doing. But there is a mental factor, like I said, to the long pounding drive that just like, we can't stop them. We're doing everything.
Yeah.
They're just blowing us off the ball 3 yards every play, 3 yards. We're getting our defensive lines getting pushed back. And then you just start to lose your fight, if you will.
Josh?
I agree with what John said. If you're just getting blown off the ball and getting gashed 3 to 4 yards every play and moving the chains, so that can be tough on your defense. But if you give up a long play, the defense isn't on the field for as long, but that really does hurt your offense. But I would say, I think that the long drives hurt your defense a little bit more than the short plays, because usually like the long plays are just like a bust, or something that you can fix pretty quickly, like maybe the corner gets burned or the safety doesn't come and help, or a linebacker busts. But if like you're giving up 3 to 4 yards of play, it's kind of tough to pinpoint just one area, as lots of things on your defense might not be working if they do those long pounding drives.
Yeah, the only team I've ever seen that really couldn't compound on having a really kind of superior running game was last year's OU Sooners. But anyways, but no, guys, I tell you, I'm with you. The long, but I tell you, as a play-by-play, the big long pass plays are just way more fun. So,
yeah, for sure.
And, so I'm only thinking about myself. Hey, real quick, another game, Watonga looking for their first win of the season as a very tough Texoma team comes to town. That'll be on Right Media, Watonga Eagles TV, and some coaching changes, things there going on. Then Carnegie is hosting Hinton. Hinton's 3-0. Coach Grant Potter's got that team playing really well.
Comets.
Yeah, the Comets, and they're right in our backyard. So I try to give them some love every chance I get. But other than that, I'm not seeing Thomas and Clinton are on buys this week. Thomas opens up district play next week at home against Sayre. Clinton, like I said, will who do they have next week? I forget.
Clinton,
they host John Marshall.
John Marshall. So, and I tell you, Coach Higbee every season says John Marshall isn't a team to sleep on, and one of these years he's going to be right.
Here's my question: Do you have any thought? Like they've got 2 weeks here, right? A bye week, and then next week John Marshall.
Yeah.
Do you think they pull up Elk City Weatherford's playbook at all in the scout team?
Oh yeah, coaches will deny it. I promise you, if they're not running some scout plays,
get a week. The free week there, right? You're not playing anybody. Might as well look a little bit ahead.
I mean, I think Saban's a coach that always kind of threw out there that, if we got Middle Tennessee State coming up, we're gonna spend a little time preparing for Auburn or whatever.
Oh, Hinton plays Carnegie.
Yeah.
Is that what you told me?
Yeah,
And I will say,
go ahead, Josh.
I was say, coaches, we'll say, they don't look ahead and they're focused on the first game, which they definitely are focused on winning that game for the week. That's their main focus. But also, I've, been in some coaches' offices and their assistant coaches are looking at the film for games 3 or 4 weeks down the road. Not into depth, they're just kind of looking at stuff. But like I said, I'm not going to say which.
As far as
I'm not going to say which. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I've noticed that at several schools that I've covered over the years, just in the locker room or in the film room.
As far as outrunning plays and scout teams, I would be privy to any of that. But it seems to me, John, like a lot of these teams just kind of want to focus completely, and especially in the non-district, just focus completely on what they do.
Well, yeah, and you're going to
Yeah.
focus on what you do, and then you're going to focus on not getting injured. I mean, that's probably the number one thing.
Oh, exactly.
I was looking at Carnegie just because that's who you said Hinton.
Yeah.
No, Weatherford's JV team.
Yeah.
Beat okay.
Well, I mean,
JV beat Carnegie.
I talked to Coach Watson. He's had some injuries, and then they've got some players that he said I think should come about this week, or they were still waiting on their 15-day transfer period or whatever. So Carnegie, Coach Byron Cole down there at Carnegie, him and Skylar Watson playing the portal a little bit down in Caddo County.
Well, I think that's what's struggling right now. We talk about Weatherford, Clinton, Elk City being like, number 7, number 8, it's almost like the exact opposite right now in Class A. Like it seems to be a struggle bus. Like my question for you would be, who finishes with the better record, right? Thomas, Watonga, Sayre, Cordell. Obviously Hinton's in there and they're 3-0 right now. And I feel like they're hopefully,
they've got a tough district. I mean, Class A3 is a tough district. Crescent's going to be good this year. It's Fairview in District 1 in Class A. It's Fairview and Hooker, and then everybody else just kind of figures out. That, I mean, that's, I wouldn't say that to Coach Ward's face. I mean, but I mean, we're speaking truth here, and and so I mean, Fairview and Hooker are just on a different level right now. They're on the old Thomas level, is what they're at. Like I said, Thomas got a win against Watonga. We've kind of seen what Watonga is dealing with on a performance and player stand. But I'm pretty interested in this Mangum game. If Sayre goes out and gives Mangum a game or wins it, they could end up being a 3rd or 4th team in that Class A District 1. And then in District 2, Carnegie. I know that if they get the player, they've got the Anadarko quarterback. If they get some of the other players in there that they're waiting on, they could probably make a run to the playoffs in that Class A District 2. The only thing what I find is generally I'm following in Class A District 2 is just to see how bad Cordell got beat, because they are just really, you talk about struggle bus. That is the one program that my heart just breaks for them, because they can't. I mean, Merritt hung 70 on them last week. Yeah. I mean, it's a bad situation, but I'll be interested in Mangum Sayre game. But then real quick, guys, and we touch on this 8-man football, Josh, Sealing Wildcats. I talked to Coach Gary Manuel earlier in the week. They had a big win at home against Laverne last week. And then now they go to OBA in Enid. And last year it was kind of the same thing, just flip-flop. They beat Laverne at home last season, lost in the regular season to OBA, then in the playoffs beat OBA in the semifinals and lost to Laverne in the finals. So he was after the big win, he was the most reserved coach I've ever talked to in my life.
Yeah, they have a really big matchup coming up. I don't really know that much about Class B football, but I think that'll be a really, really good matchup between 2 good football teams. Because OBA, they've beaten up on a lot of teams. Yeah. Same with the Sealing. Even that's a huge win against Laverne too, because I know Laverne is usually one of the best teams in Class B and the team to beat.
Well, that was the thing, John, is I'm like, holy cow! We ran it on Saturday Morning Sports. I said, holy cow! Sealing beat Laverne. Everybody's talking about Laverne this, Laverne that, and then they had done it last year too. And so Coach Manuel was a little bit reserved.
No, that's funny. I was looking right now. Canton, they beat Gary last week, and I was like, okay, let's go, Canton. I feel you. That's in our area.
Big game at Corn Bible Academy for the Tigers coming up tomorrow night.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. CBA.
Yeah.
It's non-district game.
And Class B it would be great if because I guess CBA and Mountain View Godebo are in our wheelhouse here in our coverage area. Canton maybe just a little on the fringe.
But no, sir, we have the internet. We cover Canton.
Well, I don't want K101 sneaking down here and trying to steal our coverage.
I like that lake, man.
Canton Lake?
Yeah.
Beating at the Overlook?
Yes, sir.
That's good. They got good
delicious
fish.
Good chicken fried steak.
I might
And
run
Catfish, too.
Catfish
Yeah.
today. In fact, it's only 30 minutes away from me. So
Exactly.
you been to Canton before, Josh?
I have driven through there a couple times to go to some games, but I have not spent much time in Canton.
Canton's a great place.
Yeah.
Love those folks up there. And then they always treat us really well there at the Overlook. And then also they got a good Mexican restaurant there too.
Hey, and they're building a brand new restaurant at the Lucky
Ooh.
Star Casino. Yeah. So
yeah, I've seen the construction. So
check that thing out. Yeah.
Can they separate the smoke completely?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. These outside and inside.
Okay, good. 'Cause
Gotcha.
I gotta say, love Lucky Star, the res. We went to the res and it was great. Just I just cigarette smoke in the slightest. I mean, I can't
I'm
even
with you.
off with you because cigarette smoke kills me.
Hey, wait, that's why slowly but surely the restaurant complete separate buildings. She'll be good to go.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. Hey, so 8-man football on tap, and then we'll be covering it all Saturday morning. John Adams will have the reports for you on 95.5 The Coyote at about 7:50. I think, John, last week I had him a 12-minute sportscast set up. There was so much audio and so much coverage.
I love it. Hey, it's Friday Night Lights. We're here. We were waiting 3 months without it, and now we finally get to see it all come together in these pointless games.
Yeah.
But I just get to watch them.
Speaking of pointless games, is anybody, is it pro football? I think coming up, there's a few things, but I always take week one as fool's gold. Whatever you see in week one, great is not that great. And whatever you see that's truly terrible is not that terrible.
I do agree the Jets are going to be on the struggle bus without Mr. Keeley's.
Yeah. And, and
then
then
the Cowboys looked really good. So that means the Jets beat the Cowboys this week, right? Is what you're telling me?
Going with that.
We'll see.
Yeah. John, your Texas Rangers, man, just really bad luck with aces this season. Max Scherzer goes out with a shoulder issue. Of course, everybody knew he would be hurt at some point in time. They're still in second place. They may win despite that.
They're trying really hard. It would help if they'd win more than 4 out of every 20 games. But so far they've been doing well.
They're on a 5-game heater.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's helped that we beat the Blue Jays this week because that's one of the teams who are in the wild card race too. And I think we're like a game or a game and a half behind the Astros. So there's still a lot of baseball to be played. I'm not giving up hope yet. I still think the Rangers can win the West and secure a playoff spot, but there's still a lot. There's a lot that could go right and a lot that could go wrong. So we'll see.
I credit Baker Mayfield with this. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he came out in his Texas Ranger fandom in his post game in his interviews recently. Not an Astros fan.
Accused of stealing signals.
Right. He says, no. I'm a Rangers fan, not an Astros fan. I wouldn't condone that kind of behavior.
John, are you on the mic Saturday at Milam Stadium?
Milam Stadium, 6:00 family night. Be there all day. Pancake breakfast. You want to grab some of those in the morning with the SWASU basketball teams?
That's $5 pancakes too.
Yeah.
What? How? Now, let me ask you this: what's the limit if I show up and eat pancakes that they'll say, "God, Lawdog, could you,
No. They're not going to do that. Not to
yeah,
you, especially.
It's from when I was in college, it was pretty much all you could eat. Like they didn't care.
But I mean, I know it's all you can eat, but like, do you get kind of the discerning looks and the corn if you're going up there 4th time with the triple stack?
No, I think at that point they start bringing them to you, and they start keeping track, and they start recording you.
And then you're getting a lot of mailers for donations to the university.
Yeah. You'll instead of a walkathon, they have a pancake-a-thon. How many pancakes did Lawdog eat? $20 a pancake. Make a donation. And it'll be a blast. No, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
The family day, all the buildings are open. You get to go by the education department, maybe the nursing department, the pharmacy.
Oh yeah,
everybody's there, and it's a blast.
And that's the problem with a lot of our sports is our student athletes are in actual fields. They're not a lot of community activity courses and things like that. They're actually learning some hardcore science stuff.
ECU winless as well, and I do think it's weird for SWASU being the fact that they the way their schedule works, it's all conference play the whole season. Like you play your 10 games or 10 conference opponents.
That is befuddling to me.
It's hard to really get if you start like you're starting right now, it's rough. But ECU also on
it's like
unwinning.
Yeah, Mountain West.
What do you think? Any chance
to this weekend?
Yeah,
there better be.
Okay.
I mean, we've lost to probably the 2 top teams in the GAC, right?
Yeah, one was top 5. Was it top 5, Josh, in the
Washita was
country?
top 8.
Top
I
eight
think
country?
I think top 10, but yeah,
Top 10 in the
Washita is a good team. Monticello's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Henderson and Harding are both pretty good, but yeah.
When do we get to play
Like I said-
Snoo? They're trash, right?
I want that team up.
Yeah,
north,
they're
too.
not good. Yeah, I hope this isn't the case, but hopefully both teams aren't winless when they play each other, because that would be no bueno.
That was the Toilet Bowl last year. No, 2 years
Yeah.
ago. 2
No.
years ago.
Josh, did you know John runs Barstool Dogs on Twitter?
I do.
Oh,
not.
to say,
I do
don't
not.
know.
I do not. By the way, Barstool Jogs jinxed this Bulldogs because he was so
Mhm.
excited after game 1 because
Yeah.
Swasu covered the spread.
Yeah.
He could always a lock. Swasu always covers the spread, and then they did not cover the spread against Marcus Monticello.
Are you guys? I know, Josh, you're probably not. John, I don't know if you are, but there used to be a guy on sports radio that went around nationally. Greg, gosh, what was his name? He was a handicapper. What was that guy's name? But I figured out he would give tips on a station in Oklahoma City, and then one time I caught him in another market just by chance, and he's giving opposites tips. So
That's what you do.
Oh,
So, you know,
Yep.
you take NC State in the points in Oklahoma City, but in Little Rock, you're saying give it. So, you're laying it down. So anyways, well, guys, we're pretty close to needing to wrap up, but any parting words, Josh Jennings?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be, there's some good games going on this week. Obviously, Elgin and Weatherford takes the spotlight this week in Western Oklahoma. John, to answer your question, SWASU plays SNU next Saturday.
All
But
right.
it's on the road, but it's only an hour away from you guys. So
Oh yeah. Second win of the season.
The Elk City
Hopefully.
kid, the Elk City kid graduated, right?
That's new.
Yeah. They
think-
had a quarterback that was an Elk City kid. I think he was the league offensive MVP last year.
I think so. Yeah.
I think you did. But
Wait, league offensive MVP is that what you just told me?
Conference.
That's new.
It's new. Yeah.
No, Snoo couldn't have had an MVP of anything. No, last year. Sorry, I'm used to
Yeah.
2 years ago. I'm
No,
still
last year.
Yeah, you're right. You were right about last
He
year.
ran
Yes.
for a ton of yards and could throw some, but I mean they weren't in any running for the conference. But he was really good. He was a kid from Elk City. I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but I'm sure he's on the coaching staff there at SNU now. So, but hey, also, man, kudos to is it Brett Weiberg, the new head coach?
yes,
He wants to say
Basketball?
Mark for some reason, but he has brothers that are well known. Camden Gibson on the staff as a graduate assistant. I like that move.
Gage Porter,
Yeah.
by the way.
Huh?
All right, Gage Porter.
Gage Porter, yeah.
For
I
Elk
mentioned
City.
that in
Sorry.
a story last year. All right,
Yeah.
guys, let's plan on John. What do you got before we get out of here?
I would say Weatherford Clinton softball today. If you want to
Ooh,
do
Custer
something
County
fun.
conflict. Yeah.
Ooh.
At Clinton,
Yeah.
I believe today, right?
Yeah. And then I'll be on the call, I believe, next. I was going to be on the call earlier in the week, senior night versus Woodward, but the rain canceled it. That one got moved to September 19th. It'll be senior night, and I know we'll be on the call for that. And then I think I might be doing 2 softball games on the network next week. Right.media for those of you wondering if we cross promote. So anyways,
Love it.
a little snarky. So anyways, well, yeah, looking forward to that and a whole lot more, man. Fall baseball. It's a wonderful time of the year. Everybody talks about Christmas. This is a wonderful time of the year too.
That's good. I
Yep.
like it. And don't forget, Swansea Volleyball starts conference play, and they're I'm telling you, that's a team that's gonna be good.
Soccer hung with West Texas A&M a bit. They were tied at 1 all piece at the half and then dropped a goal late. So I think SWASU soccer will be strong. Hey, and shout out to SWASU women's golf. They won the Northeastern State University Women's Classic, and a newcomer to the team, Freya Sala from Mexico City. She ended up tied for first. Now I'm just playing devil's advocate here, guys. She ties for first. They go into a playoff. I think she lost to a girl from Harding, but our girl won women's golf athlete of the week. So suck on that, Harding.
That's right. That's right.
I think
You're
that
not allowed to stay at the Harding. That's like a Christian school. It's like Abilene Christian or something. You can't.
are they the one in? Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They're the Bison.
Yeah, are they
They're the Church of Christ.
Are they the one in Searcy?
Cersei, yeah.
Okay, my
Yep,
son
yep.
lives there.
I
So
also want to say Roger State got third in that tournament, so
Hey, how you got a Roger State
That's
cross
second
country
loser.
update
Good
for
job.
us?
yeah. Yeah, we
Totally
hosted
missed
our
that, didn't you, Josh?
oh no, yeah.
As a second loser. Good
That
job.
that went right over my head. But yep.
All right. Well, listen, guys, good job on the show today. We want to thank Craig Hixon from Sayre Eagles football for joining us, as well as Glen Brockenbush from, I'm just going to say SB Live, because I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for promoting OSN on this program. So
You're
anyway,
fine.
Yeah.
No,
But-
yeah.
John Matthews, Josh Jennings, man, it's a lot of fun getting together with you guys on Thursdays. We'll have this podcast up really quickly and folks can listen. And also thanks for tuning in on Facebook Live. Have a great weekend, fellas.
See ya.
See you.
Hey, you know, I was thinking, Chuck, if I
Get out
I
of
was looking at the results of that SWASU women's tournament.
Yeah.
And if I was to shoot my normal whatever, 100 and something,
You
I would have
bitch.
finished in 84th. I would have finished in 84th place.
Hey, top 100.
Hey,
Dude,
yeah.
come on.
You know, I mean, and here's the thing: what would your score be if you're hitting from those boxes up?
Oh, that's a whole other debate. I gotta go.
Hey, real quick, Thomas has a scramble coming up in October at Roman Nose. Any interest in that from you? I know you got a lot going on, but
What October? Just something. I'm always interested. Just shoot me a date and we'll find out.
I put it on the Lawdog Sports Facebook page, so get on there, look and see if that's something that'll work for you. Josh, have a great week up there, buddy.
Yep. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye bye.